What does the Quran teach us about avoiding this? It states, and whatever good you send on before you, for yourselves, you shall find it with Allah. Surely Allah sees all that you do. And what should we send? I should explain here one aspect. It states that, and if you desire to punish the oppressors, then punish them to the extent to which you have been wronged. But if you show patience, then surely that is best for those who are patient. Chapter 16, verse 127. Patience is one of the virtues, and in our view, an extremely important value. Because at one place in the Holy Quran, God Almighty has stated that He loves those who show patience. Normally, the world considers patience to be a cowardly thing. But in the verse quoted above, it has been taught as a principle in the context of warfare. It may seem strange that there can be war and patience at the same time. Because of, if bloodshed is apparently permissible during war, then how can war and patience coexist? A horrific example of bloodshed known to us in this so-called civilized age occurred only a few decades before. According to one estimate, 60 to 70 million people died during the Second World War, of whom approximately 40 million were civilians. Alas, if only people acted with patience and did not have their hands covered in blood, but mankind proved itself to be so impatient that after some time it forgot its cruel acts of bloodshed that had stained humanity. Mankind should have learned its lesson, but regrettably, the people of today are failing to learn from the mistakes of the past. Even those who call themselves Muslims are shedding blood, as are those working on the pretext of establishing peace. In one way or another, they are shedding blood. Allah the Almighty says that patience, courage, and justice must be shown to save mankind. This means that punishment should be proportionate to the crime committed. It has been made absolutely clear that you should not transgress. If your rights have been usurped, or your borders illegally attacked, or if they try to take control of your economy, then yes, you are permitted to fight and punish and seek the help of your allies. At another place, it is stated in the Quran, and if two parties of believers fight against each other, make peace between them. Then if after that one of them transgresses against the other, fight the party that transgresses until it returns to the command of Allah. Then, if it returns, make peace between them with equity and act justly. Verily, Allah loves the just. Chapter 49, verse 10. Although Muslims have been addressed in this verse, we observe that the golden principle is that the oppressed should be assisted by all nations coming together to support it. They should stop the hand of the aggressor. And when the war is over, then under no circumstances should one take control of the economy of the aggressor, nor dictate one's terms upon its government. If there is danger of recurrence of cruelty, then a condition can be applied that in the event of aggressor transgressing, he would be penalized or face grievous consequences. This, however, is only possible when large and minor nations are at par with each other. Even in the United Nations, a distinction is made between certain countries. If the United Nations wants to establish the higher standards of justice, then it will have to pay attention to equal rights across the board. Leaving aside the small countries, even the developing countries are shackled by chains of sanctions. For example, Japan made tremendous economic progress after the Second World War. The impression I received from some of the Japanese people whom I met, who expressed their views both openly and in hidden tones, it was that though they are independent, yet the imposition of certain restrictions have bound them in such a way that they cannot express their policies freely, whether they relate to policies for the establishment of peace or economic policies. The United Nations was formed for the establishment of peace, yet its attempts at bringing about peace in any country where there is turmoil was never achieved the level of success that could have been expected from such a large institution. And this is the reason why once again the world is rapidly moving towards the brink of another world war. As Allah Almighty says in the Holy Quran, in order to fulfill the requirements of justice, one must make honest efforts for the reconciliation of disputes. Justice means absolute justice, and that can only occur when your hearts are purified to the extent that no element of malice remains whatsoever. If we assess the situation today, such justice cannot be found anywhere in the world. Since we cannot find such standards of justice, then the dire consequence of this will be that the sparks of animosity and malice will continue to flare up. Its ultimate result will be catastrophic. Just to think of this makes one's hair stand on end. This is why the Holy Quran has instructed us, O ye who believe, be steadfast in the cause of Allah, bearing witness in equity, and let not people's enmity incite you to act otherwise than with justice. Be always just, that is nearer to righteousness, and fear Allah. Surely Allah is aware of what you do. Chapter 5, verse 9. Therefore, we need to assess whether people are ready to give evidence in support of justice. If we analyze this further, then we will hardly find any example of justice. Rather, we observe elements of vested interests. The spread of vested interests have widened so much that they have all but masked the requirements of justice.